The have, do, be principle. The have, do, be principle is a simple principle, but it is one of the most powerful principles that you will come across in helping you create the life that you desire. Let's talk about the have. Most people in life are going through life with the belief that if they can just have what they want, everything will change for them. If they can just make more money at their job, if they could just have a nicer house, if they could just get a new car or go on a trip or get a tattoo. Essentially, most people walk around with a belief that they're missing something in their life, and if they can just have that thing that's missing, it will fix everything. But this is an illusion. That means that most people are walking around with the wrong goal in mind, with the wrong motivation. So let's talk about this. As we said, the have is the idea that people believe that having possessions or having things will bring them happiness. So if I could just have $10 million, or if I could remodel my house, or if I could get a new car, or I could get a tattoo, or whatever it is, that would change everything in my life. What's important to understand is that people don't actually want the possession, or they don't want the thing. What they want is the feeling that they will get when they acquire the possession. They feel like, well, if I have $10 million, then I'll feel rich, or I'll feel secure, or I'll feel safe. If I remodel the house, then I'll feel joyful in my home. Or if I get a new car, I'll feel cool driving down the road. Or if I get a new tattoo, I'll feel like I'm a badass. They're not striving for the thing, they're striving for the feeling. So the problem with this is that when they get the possession, they get the thing they want, what they often find is that it does not bring the fulfillment that they think it will. The fulfillment tends to be short-lived. They might be really excited the day they get their car. And for a week, they drive around and they love driving their car. But after 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month, they're just driving a car around. They're not even paying attention to the fact they're driving this cool car anymore. And now their mind starts looking, well, that didn't work. I thought having a new car would change my life, but now I'm just driving a car. So what else? If it's not the car, well, maybe it's if I have a new girlfriend or a new wife. Maybe that'll fix it for me. Yeah, because then I'll be in love and then that'll solve it. The pursuit of having tends to be short-lived and disillusioning, underwhelming. So people tend to pursue things, and then after a long enough time, they start to get really discouraged. They're like, well, I thought having these things was going to change my life, but it didn't. So then they move to doing, or to the do. When they realize the possessions won't bring happiness, they move to doing. So then they're like, well, I thought having $10 million would solve it, but that didn't solve it. So you know what? I need to be a better version of myself. If I'm a better version of myself, then I'll be happy. So if I do certain things, if I start working out and I work out regularly, or, I get up every morning and I meditate, or I journal, or I eat well, or I set up a schedule, I use spiritual practices, they believe that doing will bring them happiness. Doing plays a vital role in getting where you want to go. That's for sure. But doing is not the end itself. And when we think that doing is the end, that doing is going to solve the problems, what we find is that we work really hard and we're still not happy. So at the end, we find ourselves exhausted, disillusioned. And it starts to be the question of, why am I even doing all of this? I've been there. I've had routines that were so involved that by the end of the day, to get everything done that was in my routine, I was exhausted. She's like, geez, like I've been working my ass off all day, getting up early, working out, watching what I eat, doing my journaling, doing my meditating, doing affirmations and writing them down, making sure that I clean the kitchen, making sure I laid out my clothes, all these sort of things. And you find yourself tired. Doing is its own form of worshiping a false idol. Because a lot of times when we get into doing, we're not worshiping God or the primary thing, we're worshiping the doing, the act. So this then brings us to the be, or being. So we went back to having. As I said, what we really wanted was a feeling. And we thought getting something would give us the feeling. The reality is we have the power of our imagination. And in the power of our imagination, we can close our eyes and we can visualize, we can imagine whatever we want. So in doing so, we can imagine that we have that thing, or we can imagine that we are the person that we want to be right now. It doesn't need to occur in the future. It doesn't need to occur by doing. We can actually imagine we're that right now. We can assume the feeling that we would feel if we were the person we wanted to be right now. This is powerful. You see, your beliefs shape your life. You have beliefs that are useful and you have beliefs that are non-useful or limiting or useless. One of the things I talk about is a lot of times people frame beliefs as good or bad, or good and evil. You have to be very careful about this, because when we label things as good or bad or good or evil, we establish attachments either to them or to stay away from them. And what we want to do is we want to look at each of our beliefs and see, does our belief serve us or does it not? Plain and simple. If it serves us and makes us better, we should keep it. And if it does not serve us, it makes us worse, we should get rid of it. So when we look at beliefs, the most powerful beliefs are at the identity level. The identity level is how we think about ourselves. And how we think about ourselves communicates. It literally puts out vibration and energy to the world about who we are. And then people respond to that energy back to us. So our identity, it plays a key role in the energy we project out to our outer world. Now, if we want to make major change occurs at the identity level. At the identity level, we change our vibration. So we start to send out a different message to the world. And as a result, the world is going to be destabilized for a little bit, but it's going to adjust and it's going to respond differently to us. So if we walk around in guilt and shame and anger, we're putting out low vibration and we're going to get that back. We're going to be surrounded by things that promote guilt and shame and fear and anger. But if we adapt an identity of abundance, of love, of generosity, of gratitude, of service, we're going to put that out to the world, and the world is going to receive this, and it's going to start to bring that back to us. So what we're talking about with the being is that we have the ability to the person you always wanted to become. This is really valuable. Think about who it is you've always wanted to become. Whoever that person is, you can be that right now. You can assume the position. You can assume the identity. You can assume the habits of that person you've always wanted to become right now. And this starts to create a massive shift at the identity level. It starts to shift who you are. It starts to shift the energy that you put out. And when you do this, it will have a massive impact on your life. So the key phrase is act as if. Act as if you are the person you always wanted to be. So some practical ways we could do this is think about who you wanted to be. And if you could imagine that you are this person, then start thinking about, imagining what would your life look like if you were this person? What time would you get up? What would you eat? Where would you live? How would things be organized? Who would you hang out with? What would your spiritual practices look like? When would you work out? Would you work out? When would you go to bed? What would your social life look like? What would your work life look like? How much vacation would you take? When would you start working? When would you stop working? How many days a week would you work? You start to answer all these questions in the context of who it is that you want to be. And this becomes your roadmap for how you live your life today. If you start living your life acting as if you are that person right now, today, you immediately are changing the vibrations you're sending to the world, and the world is going to respond and treat you this way back. I want you to remember something. When two people walk in the room, the person that's going to take control of the room is not the person who's the smartest. It's not the person who's the biggest or the strongest. It is the person who has the most conviction in themselves. We live in a world of gossip. We live in a world of chatter and trying to take people down. And everybody wants likes. Everybody wants to be highly regarded. It's the wrong way to go about it because you're dependent on the opinion of others. When you adopt this frame where you become who it is you want to be, and you walk into a room being this person, being with conviction, the person you've always wanted to be, the people in the room are going to respond to you. And the one with the most conviction, which is you being in your identity purposefully, is going to rule the room. You're going to yield the most influence. This concept right here of have, do, be, and understanding that you need to be in the be. And this works in every context. This works spiritually. Who do you need to be in close relationship with God? God is going to pour through you when you are who he's calling you to be. It is going to strengthen you all the more. This is a powerful concept that when you live your life from the be, everything in your life will change. If you adopt the mindset that you're a multimillionaire or a billionaire, or if you adopt the mindset that you're a great trader or a great athlete or a great husband or a great father, and you identify the things that a billionaire would do, that a great trader would do, that a great husband would do, a great father would do, and you do those things, you're communicating to the world that you are indeed a billionaire, a great trader, a great father, a great husband. And the world will respond to you. Test me on this and see what you find. So often, the issues that are confining you, that are getting in the way of you becoming the person you want to be, they exist at the identity level. Hear me on this. Your identity is everything. If you fix the identity level, everything will change around you. And the beauty of it is you get to do it. You get to decide. You get to be proactive and you create your identity, nobody else. Not your parents, not your wife, not your kids, not your spouse, your brothers and sisters, your friends, you and you alone. Try this out. At Trader Tip Tuesday, I'm always coming to you with tips on how to take your performance to an elite level. You want to take your performance to an elite level? Act like you're fucking elite. And it'll go there. I'll see you next Tuesday.